Just close your eyes. Know the peace within.
Beloved GM, I have a question from the book Know Your Supreme Richness. It is the chapter 3. It has been given that instead of focusing attention on your I amness, your consciousness is trapped by accepting that it is a form only and never knows that it is a prior to form. Now, my question is, why consciousness never knows that it is a prior to form?
It is your consciousness asking this question just now. But for your consciousness, this question cannot happen. Your consciousness is infinite and ever present. But it never knows its infinity and its eternity. To know its eternity and the ever-present reality, it needs a physical matrix called the form. And through the form, your consciousness at the duality level comes to know its presence as I am. Just now you know that you are. Your I amness itself is by consciousness. But for consciousness, your presence cannot be known. So your consciousness is already prior to form and it is infinite. And it is already non-dual. But it never knows it because just now your consciousness is using the form and asking this question unknowingly. Had your consciousness settle inwardly and focus inwardly and start knowing the stillness inwardly, it knows the unmoving reality within, and only by knowing the unmoving reality through stillness, your consciousness comes to know the light within and knows that only out of the light within every form is manifested just now by the play of the elements within space. Your consciousness does not know that all forms are happening only out of itself just now. Unknowingly, your consciousness accepts itself to be the form as it is yet to know the absolute unmoving reality about itself. Unless your consciousness stabilizes inwardly, because that is your original state. Your consciousness is already non-dual, but it is yet to know because it is already trapped by the movement of the objects, by the manifested objects. Throughout the waking state, your consciousness accepts that it is born and it is suffering and it is going to disappear. It never knows that whatever perceived in space, including the form, is nothing but the reflection of the light within. Your consciousness knows the light within, then it accepts that everything is reflected as duality only out of itself by the play of elements, and the entire duality within space is nothing but the reflection of itself, and there is no reality. Your consciousness knows that there is no reality within the duality only when it settles inwardly, only when it starts knowing the unmoving reality within. That's why I have said that your consciousness needs to focus inwardly. Otherwise, you will You means your consciousness accepts itself to be the form, to be born, to be suffering, as well as it's going to disappear, though it never appears nor disappears and eternally present. The eternal truth about your consciousness remains unknown to your consciousness till it stabilizes inwardly in stillness at the non-dual level. Then only your consciousness knows the unreality of the reflected, manifested dual tissue. Now you know what I have said in that book.